Two-Rock amplifiers are one of the most coveted brands in the musical retail space. And yet, I believe the very best sounding Two-Rock amp had very little commercial success. It is the most unique Two-Rock circuit-wise, especially for the time that it was made. It did beautiful cleans and articulate crunch sounds, and yet struggled to get traction in the marketplace. How could this have happened? Is there a reason why this amplifier has all but disappeared? In this video, we're going to dive into the Two-Rock EG, Eric Gale's signature amplifier that released in 2010, and investigate why it was the greatest amp that never was. Chapter 1. To understand what happened, we first need to know who is Eric Gales.
Are there any musicians Hendrix caliber around today?
Sure, there's a young brother from Memphis, Tennessee. His name is Eric Gales.
Who is Eric Gales? He is a guitar prodigy from Memphis, Tennessee. He was playing Arsenio Hall at the age of 16 in 1991 and opening with his band, the Eric Gales Band, with his brother.
Performing Sign of the Storm, Eric Gales Band!
He was an amazing guitar player. He was an amazing singer and had all the makings of somebody who was a superstar. However, as he entered into adulthood, he struggled with substance abuse and addiction and found himself in the Shelby County Correctional Center. Despite that, seemingly Eric made the very best of the time that he had while he was incarcerated. He would even perform for a lot of the inmates and their families on special occasions. Chapter 2. Starting over. Enter Mike Varney, Shrapnel Records, and Two-Rock Amplification. By 2010, Eric had been released from the Shelby County Correctional Center, and he was interested in making a new album and starting fresh and reinventing himself.
Hi, I'm Mike Varney from Shrapnel Records, here in the studio with artist Eric Gales, our engineer Jason Natavio over there. We're about ready to record the outro solo to the song The Liar.
He chose to work with Mike Varney from Shrapnel Records, and they recorded the next album at Prairie Sun in Cotati, California. At that very same time, in the neighboring town, Rohnert Park, where Two-Rock was based, Bill Crenard, the then owner and designer of Two-Rock, was starting to experiment with EL34 tubes and Marshall-style amplifier circuits, akin to what Eric Gales had been used to using up until that time. It was studio owner Muka Rennick, in addition to Varney, that had called Bill Crenard over to the studio to bring Eric Gales some things that he had been working on as he was trying to find what amplifier would help him best get his signature tone.
You want to tell us a little bit about this amplifier?
This is an amplifier, these EL34s, and that's something that I've been working a long time to try to get right, and I think I'm getting close.
Nice.
Chapter 3. Two-Rock bets on Eric Gales. The Two-Rock EG is born. On July 26 of 2010, the Two-Rock EG amplifier was born. It was the very first example of a non-cascaded gain stages EL34 Marshall-style channel switching amp that Two-Rock ever did. To understand the distinction of what really set this apart from other Two-Rocks that had come before it, when talking about the idea of cascaded gain stages, the original Two-Rocks tended to follow more of a Dumble style archetype. That sort of circuitry basically entailed that one gain stage in the amp would cascade into the other, the same way that if you put a boost pedal in front of an overdrive and ran them both together, the boost would overload and saturate the second gain stage, being the overdrive pedal, in that sequence. This is fundamentally different from that, where the clean channel and the dirty channel are two independent channels that don't cascade into each other at all. When you have the clean channel on, you have that part of the circuit active, and that's all. When you go to the dirty side, that is separate from the clean and doesn't have anything to do with it, and it only affects this side of the amplifier circuit that is dealing with the lead channel. They do not interact with each other. They are totally separate, and again, not cascaded. And for Two Rock at that time, that was the first of these amplifiers that ever did that. Chapter 4, What Went Wrong? The EG amplifier had all the makings of another home run for Two Rock. They had the premier roster of artists that were endorsing their products, including John Mayer, who at the time, and maybe even arguably still continues to be, the flagship artist that every single brand wants to have on their roster of endorsees. So what did go wrong? Well, the first thing I think is that Eric Gales didn't have the same commercial appeal of Two Rock's flagship artist, John Mayer. Although Eric Gales is an incredible guitar player, we weren't likely going to see him doing an interview on Good Morning America or see him late night with Letterman or Jay Leno. He was somebody who was a guitar player's guitar player. If you were in the industry or you were a guitar player that knew about all the inside guys, you'd know about Eric Gales. But from the broader public perspective, most people had no idea who he was, and he wasn't on the same level as a John Mayer. Secondly, I think Eric was too good. I think sometimes when you see a player like John Mayer who's playing more pop-oriented blues and rock, a lot of players can see themselves being able to capture some of those licks and being able to incorporate them into their playing, and the tone feels somewhat achievable, even though admittedly we all know inside will never be as good as John Mayer. At least we can feel like maybe some of those licks are within our grasp. But when you watch Eric Gales play, he is just a tour de force of emotion and spirit that is just coming through the guitar strings, through the pickups, into the amplifier. And I think a lot of players couldn't see themselves embodying what he does with the instrument and how it might translate to them. The third thing, and I think the most important reason that led to its lack of traction and success in the marketplace, had to do with the buyout that coincided with the release of the EG amplifier. Two Rock was bought in 2010 by a company called the Premier Builders Guild. And this was a consortium of brands that all lived under one umbrella that compiled boutique guitar companies and boutique amplifier companies, and ostensibly consolidated their warehouses, their manufacturing, and attempted to use that as a way to leverage brands to say, well, if you want to carry Two Rock, then you're going to have to carry guitar companies X, Y, and Z, and also to help consolidate marketing, make them more affordable to the end consumer. However, with a boutique company like Two Rock that was the gold standard of boutique amplifiers at that time, I think it had the effect of cheapening the brand. Amps that were formerly $5,000 or above, like this Eric Gales EG signature amp, had competition from a lower line of Two Rock amplifiers that were 30 to 50% less than it, that were selling in common places like Guitar Center, where formerly you would have never seen a Two Rock. Chapter 5, What Now? Although I don't have any evidence to prove this, it seems as though it's fairly likely that the relationship between Two Rock after the Premier Builders Guild takeover and Eric Gales was somewhat short-lived. I speculate with that transition and changeover, and also losing their flagship endorser in John Mayer, it caused quite a stir in the business side of Two Rock, and something that they seemingly didn't recover from until Eli Lester and Bill Crenard had come back in subsequent years and taken back over the company. Now Eric Gales endorses a DV Mark solid state travel size amplifier called the Raw Dog EG Eric Gales signature amp. And I don't think any of us are under any illusions that there's no way that this sounds as good as the 2-Rock equivalent of the Eric Gales amp. And beyond that, we know that Eric is going to sound good with no matter what amplifier he plugs into, whether it's a 2-Rock or a DV Mark. And to take that even further from an audience perspective, they may not understand the distinctions between a tube amp and a solid state amp once it's translated through PA speakers. Again, Eric will always sound like himself no matter what he does. And by all accounts, Eric is doing better than ever. He has released several albums since 2010. He has collaborated with blues guitar greats like Joe Bonamassa. He's been center stage on the Crossroads Festival that's put on by Eric Clapton and played to tens of thousands of people. And just seems like he's really, really soaring in what it is that he's doing, and I'm incredibly happy for him. But as far as this amp is concerned, it seems like it was a victim of bad timing. It just so happened that this transition with 2-Rock was occurring at the same time that this amp was about to be released and picking up momentum, and I think that that really hurt it. I also think the typecasting of the brand 2-Rock around John Mayer also prevented other artists of the caliber of Eric Gales from really getting traction, because so much of their audience had sort of been calibrated to that sort of artist with that sort of commercial appeal. But no matter what way you cut it, this is an amazing amp. It is my favorite 2-Rock amp. And if you see one, I recommend that you buy it. And if you want something in that Marshall territory that has channel switching, sounds amazing, beautiful cleans, articulate dirty tones, nothing's gonna be better than this. If you like this video and you want to support what I'm doing, you can buy a pedal from us. My company's called Vertex Effects. We sell through all the major retailers. You can find it on Sweetwater, Amazon, Reverb, etc. You can also purchase one of our courses over on Teachable. All those listed in the description if you want to learn about pedal board signal path and how to arrange your pedals in the best sequence to optimize tone. We also have that available for people that go through amps and people who do ampless or amp sims. We also have Patreon and School, which are communities that you can join if you want to learn more about the things that we're up to. You want to see some of our exclusive interview content that we don't publish on YouTube. That's all available there. Also, one-on-one consultations are available for people who want to know more about pedal boards, how to best arrange their equipment, and want more individualized attention. That's all available there. Until next time, I'm Mason Marangella, and I'll see you on the next video.